we'll see how my all right. We'll see how my computer does with this with storage. But I think we should be good if we do 45 minutes in and
Yeah.
out.
Mm-hmm.
This will be good.
Quick demolishing of Disney.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Cool. So you ready to roll?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Nice. Do you want to do the plow or do you want me to still do the plow? What do you
Yeah,
prefer?
yeah. You do the plow.
All right, no sweat. All right. I'm going to start. All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Monday, November 27th. F it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live. I'm Clayton.
And actually, I'm Chris, one of you, a senior intern.
Wow. So, Christopher, you got the call up from the minors to the majors, sitting in for Pat, who is otherwise diverted. We will not get into specifics
No, definitely not.
because we can't get into specifics. I don't want people out there on Twitter guessing what happened. Did he sit on a hypodermic needle at the movie theater like that urban myth? Did he choke on a jujube? Did he get burned with popcorn oil? Let's not get into all the, questions, myth making, all that stuff, okay? Let's be respectful. And we're thinking of Pat
Always, of
and
course.
we're doing this in his, with his spirit in mind. So,
Mm-hmm.
let's keep everything professional and let's not make a mockery of this.
Of course not.
But with saying that, there is much mockery to be had for a
Oh,
big studio that continues its downward trajectory in its 100th year. 100th year.
what a way to celebrate.
What a way to celebrate. But we will get to that. But first, let's do a plow of this 5-day weekend
Mm-hmm.
for the weekend of November 24th, Thanksgiving weekend. We'll get into it. Um, let's start. Hold on one sec. We're going to do the 5-day. So I'm going to get that going here with our deadline article so we can do a legit 5-day. Did you see any movies over this weekend? I know you did a huge
You,
movie watching. That was what, the last weekend you did
yeah,
that?
last Saturday is when I did that, and then actually Tuesday I did go and see Napoleon with one of my friends.
Nice.
That is sadly all I could go see over that week. But honestly, that's all I really wanted to see because we'll talk about it later. But when a stinker stinks, I don't even want to go to it.
Yes,
So
absolutely. So let's do this. Let's talk 5 days. I'm doing the plow. Number one, Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, made $41.1 million. Number two, Napoleon made $32.5 million in its first weekend. Number three, Wish made $31.7 million in its first weekend. Number four, Trolls Band Together made $25.3 million in its, what is this? Is this its third weekend? Yeah, third weekend.
yeah, hmm
Um, Number five, Thanksgiving made $11.1 million in its second weekend. And that's your top five. Sitting outside, The Marvels, which made 9.2 for a running total of 76.8 over 3 weekends. And
oh,
then The Holdovers, which made 3.75. In its fifth weekend, it made a total of 12.9, but they are putting that thing on PVOD, which I think is a mistake. But listen,
mm,
that's not the top story. We can talk about the holdovers all through
well,
this coming season.
hmm
Now, Christopher, do you want to start with the positive story, which is Hunger Games, or do we want to bury a movie here to start out and go negative? What would you like to do as the guest?
I think I'm ready to do some digging. I'm ready to bury a movie.
Nice. You got your digging pants on. All right, so
Yes, I
let's talk
do.
about it. Let's look at Wish, which I said, and I will admit, I
Mhm.
said slam doink number 1.
Okay, you
And
did say that. You did say
right,
that.
and any other time in any other year, that would be the case. Now I know last year, Strange World opened a 12-3 day,
Mhm.
like 25 day,
19. I think it was like 19 or 18 point something.
right? So that I thought was an outlier because it looked bad. It had that pulpy sort of sci-fi thing that never works.
Mhm.
Wish was a princess movie. This is the bread and butter of Disney. And I thought, okay, kids are going to go see this, families are going to go see this, the Disney adults are going to go see this. Christopher, this made 19.5 in its 3 day. That is only 7 million off from Strange World, which is a all-time disaster. And this thing kept going down and down and down. It's an opposite Bad Boys for Life. We
Mhm.
were watching this movie dwindle and dwindle to the point where Hunger Games was dead heat with it, then beat it. Napoleon was dead
Napoleon.
heat with it
Yep.
and beat it. Napoleon beat Wish. It is shocking that this happened, but I should have seen it coming. We should have seen it coming. Now, Christopher, did you see this coming?
I kind of want to say yes, but no. I even thought, like, especially Disney pushing the 100th anniversary angle, making it seem like this was like callback to all the classic Disney, especially like the Renaissance era. And I
Mhm.
think even Disney thought they had a hit on their hands, but
Yeah.
clearly something didn't click with general audiences, and no one wanted to go see this movie. Somehow, a 2.5 hour R-rated historical epic made more this weekend than a new Disney animated princess movie, which is just crazy to say.
It is crazy, and so we always say that rats need their cheese, and that is why I think we kind of me and Pat went higher on this than we normally would with
But
the track record,
you did say, you mentioned it, or actually, I think it was you. You did try to say the rats already have their cheese with trolls.
and that's
I
what I was
did,
gonna get to.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna get to is that these rats want Brie, which is
Mm-hmm.
trolls,
Yep.
and this is not Brie. Wish is not Brie, okay? I don't know, it's Limburger.
Okay.
Wish is Limburger cheese. So we should have seen this coming, and part of the reason is I don't know what this movie was about. I still don't know what this movie was about, truly. I think they did a terrible job of promoting it as to
Mm-hmm.
what it actually was about. And I guess it's about wishing and people own the wishes and it's
Yeah,
liberating
so
your wishes.
somehow it was supposed to be tied to like the Disney wish, the Disney like star. That was like
Star
the what? Yeah, I don't really know. Some guy was trying to steal some wishes. That's basically all I know.
and this little star character looked like no fun. It like I think the look of it looked old school. It didn't look innovative or fun.
No, it did. I think they were trying to go for like a 2D Spider Verse style, which seems to be big now, and they just like it did not hit.
Yeah. And listen, just because Pat is gone doesn't mean we're gonna go around and just like step in all the shit. Because we're
Oh,
not gonna do
no.
that.
Mm-mm.
Because you're a student at school, you want to be able to graduate, you want to be able to stay in your great university and graduate and not have people say, this this kid went on this podcast and he stepped in all this shit. We don't need
No.
you to do that. We're not gonna step in shit. What I'm gonna say about Disney
Mm-hmm.
is something is wrong.
Yeah.
And I do think that they need to change what they're doing as a business because businesses are supposed to make money. Yes. Can you make art and also make money? You can. But they are doing neither right now.
No,
They're
they are not.
making uninspired movies and they are not making money. So they are a failure. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever they're doing to drive the public away, they need to stop doing it. Or they need to get some different minds in there. They need to get some innovative thinkers to
Mm-hmm.
lead the people. Because right now they're not leading anybody. Artists, true artists lead. They give you something you didn't know you wanted. And that is what Disney isn't doing. It's not going forward and pushing things to the point where you're like, "Oh my god, that was so innovative that I needed to sort of like wrap my head around it," the way
Mhm.
Pixar became. Now it's just recycled stuff that people don't want, and the story element is getting lost. There's
Yeah.
no great stories being told by this institution that has a catalog of amazing stories. And they've come back from things like this before. Black Cauldron is a movie
Mhm.
that bankrupted them basically. It has a cult following now. Will that happen to Strange World? I don't know. I can't see into the future. Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know. But right now, it doesn't matter what people 20 years from now are going to think about Strange World or Wish. It matters right now what everybody thinks about them. And people think they stink.
And on top of that's not even a problem with just the animation. Marvel, Star Wars, even Pixar, all of Disney's once flagship brands are now all in the toilet. And this is
Yes.
crazy. Who would have thought 4 years ago, coming off the 2019 year of Avengers Endgame, Frozen 2, The Lion King, that 4 years later we would be saying somehow Disney is now the worst studio
I mean,
at the box
listen,
office.
they own Marvel, they own Star Wars now. They have the Muppets. The Muppets are rags. We know this. The
Yeah.
the Muppets are being used to wax Bob Iger's car, as they
Yeah.
should be, right?
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I'm not here saying, oh, they should do more with the Muppets, because at this point, they are doing nothing good with any of these things that they own. And Iger, you know, a lot of blame went on Bob Chapstick for a lot of this stuff.
Mhm.
And Iger was the one who was put this stuff on Disney Plus, and he's the guy who came back and was supposed to save everything, and they're in a worse position than they've ever been.
I honestly think even if Iger didn't leave, they would be in the same exact position because he kind of just left all of this to Chapstick. He
Yeah.
screwed it up more, and then Iger came back to try and unscrew himself, and then
Mhm.
just keeps making it even worse.
Yeah, I mean, I watching these numbers go down, I was just so shocked by number 3. I this movie coming in at number 3 is so terrible.
So
I
terrible.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to look at these numbers. So, like, the Tuesday night showings were pretty decent.
Yeah,
They were,
Tuesday
like,
night still, yeah, that's still
on
pointed to like a 45 to 50 million opening. I think that was like basically in line with Coco and Moana. So
yeah.
everyone started off thinking this was going to be like a decent return, and then yeah, as you saying, just throughout the weekend it just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing that I was when I was watching these numbers, I was like, "Okay, people are traveling, the Tuesday and the Wednesday, listen, you're wrangling the kids, getting them in
Hmm.
airplane seats, it's terrible. Thursday, you're with the fam. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those were the days I thought Wish was gonna feast,
Hmm.
and it just was a down trajectory, and that's bad. That is very bad for this movie,
Oh yeah, that is terrible. I just can't believe it. And
and it
honestly, I was sort of surprised because the cinema score wasn't. It was an A minus, which I know isn't great, but it
mhm.
wasn't terrible. I thought it would definitely be able to somewhat recover, maybe pull like a Shrek situation where the first like 2 days were terrible and then over the weekend it explodes. But yeah, no, it just down, down, down.
Now, all Disney animation usually gets A or A minus or what. I think Strange World was the first one to get a B ever.
Oh,
A
okay.
and so that is sort of par for the course, that even a terrible Disney movie, the fanatics will still give it an A or an A minus. So, the fanatics, I guess, were sticking up for this movie, like this movie. I mean, we had the great Scott Mendelson tweeting out this great tweet about how it's the worst Disney movie since Chicken Little.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm not a Disney guy, so I don't really know if that's true, but I know Scott knows what he knows, and I
Hmm.
believe him. And so that's the buzz you're hearing, is that this is a terrible movie all around. And I don't, maybe not terrible in an offensive way, but just boring and
Yeah, I like.
inconsequential in a way that
Hmm.
that Disney movies aren't or weren't for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and I hear for a musical, which is supposedly Disney's bread and butter, that even the music's just kind of average. There's not going to be any type of Encanto. We don't talk about Bruno's situation where it gets this like huge bump because of that. There's
Yeah.
going to be none of that. The kids are going to forget about this and just go back to singing whatever song gets remixed in Trolls World Tour.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Trolls is a big winner here because that's what the rats wanted. The rats
Mm.
wanted that.
Trolls made more in its first weekend than Wish did in its entire 5 day.
That is so shocking.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the movie that beat it because you
Mm-hmm.
saw this film. We're talking Napoleon. We're talking Ridley Scott. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
Joaquin Phoenix, the Joker, one of many Jokers,
Yes.
but the $1 billion baby
Maybe.
Joker.
The Joker that doesn't have to eat the hot ones.
Yes, that Joker does not have to eat the hot ones. Jared Leto's Joker,
Oh yeah, that's a
eating
different
hot
story.
ones.
Oh,
Eating
the
hot ones.
hottest ones.
The hottest of the hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was gonna he's gonna sit there with the host and give him a used condom and
Oh yeah, give him a dead rat or
he's
something.
gonna be eating them off dead rats.
Yeah,
That's what Jared
exactly.
Leto does. It's all
Hmm.
part of his process. But
Yeah.
now, you saw this film.
Hmm.
Are you surprised at how well this film did?
Not based on the quality, but based on the type of film it is. Like this just doesn't happen in 2023 with
Mhm.
this type of drama, old school like war period piece epic that I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because like last year, 2 years ago, House of Gucci came out and did relatively the same exact stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really not a surprise, but I still am kind of surprised. But I guess we do have to give some credit. Ridley Scott, I still think does have a name out there as a marquee director, and I do
Mhm.
think the combo of him and Joaquin Phoenix helped this a little bit because I don't think it would have grossed that much if it wasn't those two.
Yeah, I do think the Joaquin Phoenix, effect is I cannot put him as butts in the seats star
Hmm.
when he's not playing Joker.
Okay. Yeah.
But listen, I love this guy, big girls fan. He
Hmm.
was great in The Last Duel. But if this is Adam Driver's Napoleon, and I know he's a tall guy, he couldn't pull it off, but maybe you could. He's an
Yeah.
actor. That's what they do.
Hmm.
Put his knees in some boots, do
Oh,
a
it just
dwarf
has.
sort of, yeah, like
Yep.
a dwarf on golf sort of situation.
Yep.
And maybe he does it, but certainly this movie doesn't make what it makes with him as Napoleon.
Definitely not. You need that. You need that A-list star on your title next to this director for this to
And
do what it did.
and we thought this would be a dad play, but looking at these demos here, so guys outpaced women 65 to 35, understandable. It's
Understandable.
Napoleon,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Best grades for this movie came from the 18 to 24-year-olds. And close to half the audience was between 18 and 34, with 25 to 34 being the biggest demo. Uh, so that is, listen, 34 is old, but it ain't 55. It
Mm-mm.
ain't 45. So this is skewing younger than I expected. 57% Caucasian, 21% Latino and Hispanic. I mean,
Hmm.
just the MVPs of theater going
Oh,
for the past few
100%.
years,
Oh,
post
100%.
post COVID, the Latino Hispanic community has said, this is the sort of entertainment we want to go to. We want to sit in a theater, we want to watch films, and
Hmm.
we will watch anything because we enjoy cinema. I mean, amazing.
Amazing.
Love,
Gotta
love it.
love it. Exactly.
9% black, 12% Asian other. That sort of tracks.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I was expecting this to really over-index with the dads, and it feels like it was more of a younger skewing movie. I mean, obviously you're in that younger demo.
I
You're
went
eight
with
you're
another
18
friend
to
of mine.
24.
Yep, my
Yeah.
friends, same exact age, and actually, two of my other friends who are in the same age demo also went at a different time. Actually, I don't know a single older person that went. The only people I know that went were in my demo.
Wow, that is shocking. I mean, maybe Napoleon is some sort of cult figure for this age group. Is there any sort of reason why Napoleon would really resonate with the youngsters?
I mean, this summer there was a lot of talk about the Roman Empire, so maybe everyone just kind of had a little inkling for some action epics in history. And well, we didn't get the Roman Empire. We got Napoleon, and I guess it just worked.
Wow. So where do you see this going next weekend? I mean, I feel like we can't talk budget because budget is budget, right? 200 million. All these
And
budgets are going to
and
be inflated and all that
and the
stuff.
whole Apple TV aspect of it. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But as a film that is going to have legs, word of mouth, would you say, go back to campus? I know you have a heart out because you got a rager to go to. You're at the rager.
hmm
You're around the keg, which is like the water cooler for college
Oh,
aged people,
yeah, basically.
and you're talking Napoleon. You're shooting the shit with some bros, and you're saying, "Go see this, bro," or you're saying, "Skip it, bro." What are you saying?
I'm saying go see this, bro. 100%. Honestly, for this, it felt very modern. It was very fast paced. The battles were great. I know we're not critics, huh? But
Huh?
I still think I had a really good time with this movie. All my friends did, and the battle scenes are epic. And honestly, the heart of the movie with the Joaquin Phoenix Vanessa Kirby relationship, I thought that was great too. I really do think people will like this movie in my age group, and clearly that's already shown.
That awesome. So it's a GSB situation. Go see it, bro. I love
Yes.
it. Now let's talk about a movie prime for your demo where
hmm
people went and saw it, bro. We are talking the number one movie in America, 2 weekends running. Who would have thunk?
I would like to say I kind of did thunk. I kind of
Okay.
did thunk. I did like to, not to toot my own horn or anything,
Nope.
but on
We
our
love it.
show, I did say that even though the weekend that came out was a little under what people expected, that's just because the college kids, everyone wasn't home yet. But as you
Mhm.
saw over the course of the week, all the college kids came home and everyone out went out together with their groups of friends to go see this movie. And I personally know like two or three different groups of people in my age group again that went to go see this movie while they were home over break.
So 29 million 3-day, down only 35%. 98 million at the moment. So by Monday, by today, when we're speaking,
hmm
probably going to be over 100. So this was $100 million budget, which is great because
Yeah,
all the budget talk we've been doing recently is 200,
right.
300, COVID, blah, blah, blah. Lionsgate kept this low, right? And you know
hmm
what? It's been a good year for Lionsgate. Yes, Expendables 4 ate shit. But
Yeah, yeah.
what did you expect from that movie? Uh,
Nothing,
right?
nothing better.
Everybody saw that stinker coming. It should have went, that's a movie that I'm glad it went theatrical, but it stunk so much of straight to streaming, straight to
Oh yeah.
DVD sort of action sequel.
hmm
But a resurgent Saw franchise. Now, I goofed on Saw X. Pat came on here and said it's got a song, it's got an actual song in the trailer, so it's gonna be good. Brett from the New Flesh
Flash.
also was sticking up for this, hashtag horror lifestyle. He's there with his kid, he's doing his thing. We're gonna have him on the show again.
hmm
Whenever he finds the time, we want to talk horror with him because horror always wins. We'll talk about that later with Thanksgiving. But I am not going to eat crow because the numbers that they were stating were not the numbers that it opened to and the numbers that I was
Uh,
thinking of.
hmm
But as a Saw fan, somebody who's seen all the movies, it's up there. It is maybe the best Saw movie ever, just in
Oh,
quality.
I haven't seen a single other Saw movie other than Spiral, but I did go to see this and I had a really good time with it.
Right? And it makes you want to watch the
It
other
does.
movies. And
I
it
did,
also
yeah.
makes you want to see sequels to this movie.
Oh, 100%.
And so you got Lionsgate with Saw, Expendables dead, put it in the ground next to Wish, next to Lyle Lyle Crocodile. And now you've got Hunger Games,
hmm And
which
don't forget John Wick. They also had John Wick earlier this year.
John Wick. I mean, so Lionsgate was a company that we were thinking, oh, they're just trying to. dust off their IP to show, look, we have something for you to buy when you buy us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know about that now. It still could happen, but Lionsgate is performing over what was expected. And this movie, especially. I mean, last weekend we were talking maybe Dungeons and Dragons being a situation where, like, is this going to make enough to get a sequel? And I'm saying right now, this thing is going to do enough for Hunger Games to continue. And it might
Oh
not
yeah,
be, this exact story sequel. Who knows? I'm not as familiar with the books. I know this was a book, and I think it was only one book. I don't know if this was a
yeah.
series of books.
Actually, the reason this book was written was because Lionsgate wanted to make another Hunger movie set after Mockingjay, and the author of these books said, "No, let me just write another book first,
Great.
and then you guys can make it." And that's exactly what happened. She wrote it. It came out right before COVID, and then like right after COVID, they shot this movie and made it.
And this we forget because Hunger Games seems so far in the rear view, at least for me. But this was a Thanksgiving franchise. Most of these movies opened in this corridor. So Hunger Games seems to be something that people really crave during Thanksgiving when we all hunger. I don't
Hmm.
know if there's sort of like something there. It might be, you know, back in the back of your mind when you think, okay, Thanksgiving, I'm hungry. Oh, Hunger
Hunger
Games, gonna
Games, yeah.
go, gonna go. But
Hmm.
but that's a thing where it's like now Hunger Games could own Thanksgiving again. And
Yeah.
we love when a franchise owns a holiday or
Oh yeah.
owns a weekend.
Hmm.
So what this does for Rachel Zegler, who knows? Because there's all the Snow White stuff, and that's Disney, and Disney is
Yeah.
in the crapper.
Yeah. Who knows what the hell's going on with that?
So that got pushed. Who knows? Listen, maybe it doesn't even ever come out. We don't know.
Mm.
Everything's up in the air now for Disney. So who knows? But for right now, this is very positive for this person who was not really, you know, she was in a few things, but never the thing everybody loved about it. And she's getting really good reviews for this performance. And I know
Oh yeah.
younger people have an affinity for her. How is your age group when it comes to her? Is it a shrug or is it we like her or do you detest her?
I think it's more of a shrug. No one has like any strong feelings towards her either way. And honestly, I think most of her prior works gone relatively unseen by like my
Yeah.
age group. Like I don't know a lot of people that went to go see West Side Story.
Hmm.
Uh None of my friends went to go see Shazam 2.
Makes sense.
I'm not really sure what else she's been in. So and that just goes to show no, I don't think there's really an opinion, but they might know of her.
So she's no Jenny Ortega. She's
Oh,
no
definitely
Zendaya.
not. Definitely not.
And so, yeah, I mean, but this is super. I mean, this is good for her. Who knows? Because it's so hard to be an actor in, making movies that aren't part of an existing IP or franchise. So who
Oh
knows
yeah.
if this propels her to be able to do other stuff? Like someone like Zendaya is at the point where
So
she could do a
she
movie
can do
like
whatever.
Champions,
Yeah.
and that is something that a lot of stars can't do. And so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, but this is definitely positive for her. If I'm her people, her agents,
Mhm.
I'm thinking this is good. After a lot of bad news on the internet, whatever it is,
Mhm.
again, we're not stepping in shit just because Pat's away.
Yeah,
Just
definitely
because
not.
just because Pat is at death's door, we are not going to step in shit and besmirch his memory.
Definitely. Could never.
Would never.
Would never.
So let's talk Thanksgiving. Not the holiday.
Okay, I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask.
Not the holiday. Although I hope you had a good holiday.
I did. I hope you had a good holiday too.
Good, thank you. That's as personal as we're ever gonna get.
Yeah, exactly.
This movie, Thanksgiving, which was another soft opener, and another movie that I think we both thought was gonna do something akin to what Hunger Games ended up doing, which
Mhm.
was hold very well, because this is a movie that when they weren't going to see Hunger Games, the Gorehounds, the macabre members of society, the hashtag horror lifestyle bros and broettes and people, they are going to see this movie. And they did, because we have a 3-day of
Mhm.
7, which is down only 31%, an amazing hold for a horror movie. Horror
Oh,
movies
yeah.
don't hold like that,
No, they do not.
right? So we got that, and then we got the 5-day of around 10, which is
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah, I think it did basically the same exact number it did in its first 3-day.
Yeah, and that is really, really awesome for this movie, and, I was able to see this movie.
Mhm, me too.
Did Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was fun. It
Yeah,
was
I
what you wanted it to be.
yeah, I had a great time with it, and actually, again, I had other kids that are my friends in my age group that went and also had a great time. And actually, one of my friends went with his dad, and his dad was the one who didn't like it, but he did.
Yeah. I mean, that's so this is a movie when you're looking at like a comp such as maybe Talk to Me,
Mhm.
which,
Oh yeah, definitely in that realm.
yeah, so it Talk to Me legged out to about 48, and that's something this movie could do. And with, again, listen, talk about not stepping in shit. I'm just gonna say,
Mhm.
Scream is no more for the
Oh,
foreseeable future, and we're not gonna get
oh,
into why. We're not gonna, yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
We are really dancing over the cow pies right now.
Yeah.
But could this film fill that sort of gap where
I
it had a Scream, it had a very Scream-ish feel to me because of the whodunit.
Mhm.
Now, of course, the original Scream is a stone cold classic, one of my top 10 movies of all time, one
Mhm.
of the best scripts ever written, I
Oh yeah.
believe. It's not gonna reach that. That's not what Thanksgiving was, but
Oh no.
it's a similar sort of, I could see this being refillable in that way, and I could see these characters continuing on the way the Scream characters continued on, and
Oh
so
yeah.
it's possible that Thanksgiving could fill a gap where Scream was living. How people will feel about that, how I feel about that, it doesn't matter, who cares? But it is a possibility.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I not to spoil anything, not to spoil anything, but as you saw towards the end of the movie, they do leave it open for sequels, and I do think yeah they have this likable cast, especially with Addison Rae, who is she is a huge star. At least TikTok wise, she's a huge star, and I do think honestly this movie is losing money because most of her fans are probably too young to go and are going and seeing Trolls World Tour instead. But hey, if this keeps going long enough, those kiddos are eventually going to be at that age where they can go see and watch these movies and have a great time with them.
Well, you know what they're gonna say is
But
Thanksgiving too.
they are going to go see Thanksgiving too.
And so I think that's one of these things where, I had faith in this movie. I thought that this could be something, and it was a grower, not a shower.
Hmm.
And usually Eli Roth, all about the shower. He's a
He
shower,
he is a shower.
but this one was a grower, and that's showing personal and creative growth. I mean, obviously, listen, it's not Shakespeare. It's
Hmm.
a fun slasher with some cool, gory kills, and also, I would say, you root for a few of these people when you didn't think you would.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say yeah.
And I think that's an important aspect of a good slasher is to have people you can actually root for.
Hmm.
So, man, I mean, anything else you wanna touch on in this crazy Thanksgiving weekend? I mean, looking at the charts, anything popping out to you? Saltburn up
Saltburn.
477%. It added 100 and well, I'm sorry, 1,559 theaters, so it made 1.8, got into the top 10.
Yeah, but its per theater average was like down the drain. That's not going to do anything. I mean, the Marvels surprisingly didn't totally collapse again. It had a
Okay.
decent hold, but that at this point doesn't mean jack shit for anything. That movie,
Nope.
that movie's already a huge bomb. And the only other thing, the holdovers seems to be holding pretty well over the past few weekends, and I think that is like a little indie darling that could. It'll definitely make a decent amount of money for what it is.
But let me tell you something. We talked about this a little bit earlier, that it is coming to PVOD
Hmm.
this coming Tuesday.
But I do think time and time again it has shown that going to PVOD really does not affect what
Now,
happens at all.
that is for blockbusters. I think that is true for movies that have made a decent amount of money.
Mhm.
I Okay, I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
Around Thanksgiving, this is again, I
Mhm.
said I wasn't gonna get personal, but we're gonna get personal. We went, the me and Pat and, his wife,
Mhm.
and that was it because the in-laws didn't come. We went and saw Saltburn,
Okay.
at the theater.
Mhm.
I'm not a critic, huh?
Huh?
I don't see this thing crossing over to mainstream. I think
Oh, definitely not.
did what it did
Maybe
on the coasts, you
maybe
know?
because of Jacob Elordi, like we were talking about last week with him and Elvis, but yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it has that much.
Yes, but keep your eye on that gentleman because he is doing some really interesting stuff, and I think if you take anything away from this movie, that kid's got something,
That he definitely has something.
right? And so,
Mhm.
Rosalind Pike, great in this movie,
Oh, Roseman, yeah,
spectacular, yeah.
yeah.
And so, this movie is not gonna cross over. The thing with The Holdovers is we went to see Saltburn because we we were given bad information
Mhm.
from Twitter and Reddit
Oh,
that The
that
Holdovers was gonna drop on PVOD this weekend. So, we would have been able to see Saltburn in the theater and then see The Holdovers at home with the in-laws who would
Mhm.
have loved it. Not my in-laws, Pat's in-laws, who I spend Thanksgiving with,
Mhm.
as people do. That's just something
Yeah,
people do.
yeah.
And so, when we found out it wasn't there, we were mad. I mean, at first we were mad that it was coming on PVOD so quickly.
Yeah,
But then we were
naturally.
mad because we couldn't see it because we had planned to do it because we would have seen the holdovers instead of Saltburn if we
You
had
knew.
known that this wasn't going to drop until the 28th.
Mhm.
I think the age group that is into a movie like The Holdovers would maybe choose to watch it at home instead of going to the theater. And I think that making this available as early as they are, they're cutting off some momentum here. Like they're cutting some momentum where this could be a Green Book-esque run.
Mhm.
And it's kind of being cut at the knees. And listen, we're not in 2019. Not as many people are going to the theaters. Movies don't make as much money as they used to. I understand that. But the needle is moving upward, I think.
I
And I
think
think
so
The
too.
Holdovers would be a key film to bring older general audiences back to theaters. Not just the church bus crowd, you
Mhm.
know,
They're already
but
back.
they're already back, but like just regular film goers. And I think that putting it on PVOD is gonna cut this thing off, and it could have been a sleeper, and now it's not gonna be. Because if you put a hit movie or a movie that, people need to go to the theater to watch because there's a spectacle involved,
Mhm.
that's not gonna cut into the theater going. The Holdovers is something that, in a worse world, could
Mhm.
have dropped on Netflix, and people would have watched it on Netflix and forgotten about it. And I do like, I mean, White Noise, not that that's a great
Yeah.
movie, but something like White Noise,
Wait,
which
yeah.
just Noah Baumbach came and went, co-writer of one of the biggest movies ever, Barbie, and an adaptation of a great novel, went on
Mhm.
Netflix and ate shit. And so I do think that this sort of movie coming to your home is gonna, harm the momentum.
Okay.
We'll see
I
though. We'll
we
see.
yeah, we will see. We'll see what the results are next week. But yeah, I don't think I feel like all the I do get what you're saying with where with bigger blockbusters, that's definitely less of a factor. But I also think like your age group and like the age group that is probably most inclined to see this isn't scrolling through Reddit and Twitter to see when this movie's dropping on POVOD. I think they're the type of people that just go on Fandango or look in the local newspaper or
Yep,
just
yep.
go straight up to the movie and just look at what times what's
Walk
showing
up.
and they
Yeah.
yeah and they just go. I don't think they're as in tap with the industry as we are.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. We are very in tap with the industry. We are
Mhm.
part of the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, absolutely. Now, before we go, and I know you have a heart out because you gotta fucking party your ass off. Did you hear this story
Hmm.
this morning on Howard Stern's podcast? I don't know if you listen to Howard Stern. I don't know what your thoughts on Howard Stern are,
Hmm.
but he had Bradley Cooper on, writer. I think he's writer. I definitely director and star. Maybe not writer. Who knows? He probably typed a few.
Are you the new movie?
Maestro.
Yeah, I believe he's the writer too.
He said on his on this during this interview on the Howard Stern podcast,
Hmm.
he said that Howard Stern supposedly was going to play the Sam Elliott part in A Star Is Born.
Oh.
Now, it was a different sort of movie at the time.
Hmm.
It wasn't going to be the same character. He said he was feeling it out.
Hmm.
Does that sound like bullshit?
I cannot imagine Howard Stern in that movie at all. I do think that is bullshit. I've seen Stars Born. My family loves A Star Is Born. I cannot imagine that at all. I think that is complete and utter bullshit.
Could you imagine the horror show that would be? I mean, I think Bradley Cooper was having a laugh.
He
I
must have
think
been.
he was having a laugh. And maybe Howard was playing along with this, or maybe it was a joke and Howard took it serious. And then, Cooper had to be like, oh, okay, I got to figure out a way to like get out of this because I was joking. And this guy thinks it's serious. That is shocking news. That has to be bullshit.
I completely agree.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, listen, I don't listen to the Howard Stern podcast anymore.
Hmm.
Barely anybody does. But I was shocked at that news. And I know Howard Stern means very little or
Yeah,
nothing to you.
I mean, I know the name, but I really do. I mean, I know what he looks like, but I don't really know. Yeah,
But it's
Howard
not
Stern.
like you don't have your, what is it? Your private parts DVD or VHS or anything, but
No,
Bongo Fiesta, that's not in your,
no.
VHS collection.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, so I was just shocked. And I think the thing is, if Pat were here at some point, if Pat does come back, I think he would find this to be truly shocking. But I
Okay.
think what doesn't shock me is how little Howard Stern
Stern.
means to you.
Hmm. Yeah,
And it saddens me because at some point Howard Stern was, he called himself the king of all media, but Howard Stern was a part of like my life in a huge way, every day,
hmm.
daily thing. And now all I'm hearing are these bullshit stories, and I'm like, what is going on? So we'll see. I don't know.
Would you see A Star Is Born, the Howard Stern cut?
Oh, release the Howard Stern cut.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's a car wreck situation, right? I mean, I think you have to watch that sort of car wreck.
Oh, definitely. I 100% agree.
But I mean, I think Bradley Cooper's directing career would be dead in the water if that would have happened.
That is also probably true.
And people were saying, well, he did cast Dice Clay in Star is Born as well, but Dice Clay has done, I mean, Dice Clay is a actor. That character he did was an actor. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, was an act. And then he has done movies. He was a professional actor before. He's done great work in other films. So he did what was the one that Woody Allen directed that he blew, geez, I can't remember what it was. Blue Jasmine.
Oh, yes. I think I know you're talking. I'm not a huge Dice Clay guy, but I think I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
But he was in Blue Jasmine. He did a great job. We were thinking maybe Oscar nom for him, and it didn't happen, but it could happen. But I don't
Hmm.
see Howard Stern ever getting back on the horse and actually acting. That would be odd, to say the
That.
least.
Hmm.
All right, well, Christopher, is
Hmm.
there anything left to say? I think we did it.
I think we did it too.
And now, since you do our social media and you do it
Hmm.
amazing job,
Oh.
I mean, I just want to say because you're here.
Hmm.
And, I'm not lathering your ass just to do it, because
Mhm.
I'm not that way.
Yeah,
I'm sort of standoffish,
very salt of the earth.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
absolutely. I don't show affection
Mhm.
the way a lot of people do, but I gotta say, you're doing a bang up job.
Well, thank
You're a
you.
full-time student, right?
Mhm.
You're out there getting your classes done. You're out partying. I mean, you partied so hard one night that your internet went out. The whole
Yeah.
internet and the whole campus went out because you were raging. I
That
mean,
was it. It was a pretty crazy night.
yeah, and I'm sure you've had more crazy nights other than that,
Mhm.
and you will have more crazy nights, but you find the time to post clips on our Twitter, and you wrangle Jack. I haven't seen Jack since that interview. Like, Jack gets his work in on time because you're there and you
Mhm.
make sure of it. And I'm sure, he's a bit of a self-starter as well, so there's something there. But this isn't about Jack, because Jack's not here and he never will be here
No, no.
unless you get moved up and then he
Mhm.
gets moved up. But right now, he's junior, you're senior. And do you have anything coming up on the Twitter feed, TikTok, any of that stuff that people should check out?
Just honest for the most part, just the same old content. I am kicking around a few new ideas that I can start posting, but nothing official yet.
Love it.
Uh, but yeah, also check out the chick TikTok. Jack's been over there on our Substack writing some great articles. That's back up for us.
Yeah.
Always check out the YouTube. Just try and relive all the best moments of everyone's favorite podcast out there.
Absolutely. And Apple Podcasts, 5 stars.
Stars.
Just
Hmm.
do it. Say 5 stars, blah, blah, blah.
Love
Love the show. Love the show, blah, blah,
exactly.
blah. Any way you want to do it. Um, Christopher for permanent replacement host, go ahead and do that, 5 stars. I don't know what's going to
Uh,
happen in the future. I can't see the future. Obviously we are sitting here, we're thinking of Pat, we're hoping everything works out. But again, no speculation. Don't be
yeah.
tweeting about stuff. We don't want to hear it. When Pat wants to talk about it, if Pat can talk
Yeah.
about it,
Hmm.
he will talk about it. So, all
Yeah.
right. I don't think there's anything left to say.
Me either.
Until next time, we'll
Will smell
smell you
you at
at
the
the box
box
office.
office. Nailed it.
All right, buddy. Great job. Let's
Yeah,
see.
no.
Recording.